Welcome to the Coral Futures webinar presented by Coral Expeditions in partnership with the Australian Geographic Society. My name is Louise and I am a part of the sales team at Coral Expeditions. So today's webinar is going to be pre-recorded and we will also send a copy to you afterwards so you can share it with your friends and your family. Thanks so much for taking the time to join our Coral Expeditions and our Coral Futures webinar. The focus today is going to give you an insight on how we've partnered with Australian Geographic to bring you this exclusive expedition that combines small ship cruising with expert-led exploration. And if you have any questions, feel free to just pop them in the chat box and we'll answer them at the end for you. So to start with, our All-Australian crew are really passionate and proud to share the adventure with you. We are always really attentive and caring with a friendly and approachable style, which is really keeping in line with our Australian relaxed atmosphere on board and our company values. Coral Expeditions was one of the first cruise operators to employ interpretive guides on our cruises, and that's a tradition that we still continue today. So each trip includes a mix of our full-time guest lecturers who join the expedition team, and then our special guest lecturers who are chosen for their specific local knowledge in the region that we're visiting. So your cruise will be led by our dedicated expedition leader who will work really closely with the captain to determine our daily programs, ensuring that the best use of our time is made prevailing weather and tidal conditions. Your expedition leader will also join you on all excursions and our activities. They'll provide daily recaps and briefings, and it's always on hand to answer any questions that you may have. The expedition team use our ship's shallow draft, our quick disembarkation capabilities, and our special tender equipment, such as our Explorer vessels, which we'll touch on shortly, and our Zodiacs, and they are open to our open deck spaces on board to take you up close to the places that we are visiting. Now, your cruise fare will cover everything that matters the most. So that includes your excursions, activities, meals and drinks, and our expert guides. It also includes your taxes and fees. So once you unpack, then you just simply relax and enjoy the experience. There'll be no hidden extras at the end. On this particular voyage, we are delighted to be partnering with Australian Geographic Society, as I mentioned at the start. And on board, we're going to have some special guest lecturers from Australian Geographic. So we'll have Dr. Dean Miller, we'll have Dr. Robin Beeman, Murray Hunt, Andrew Ryan, and Brett Lobween. So this itinerary is our Coral Futures. It's a 7-night Cairns to Cairns itinerary and it departs on the 4th of December this year on board our Coral Discoverer. Some highlights and inclusions on this trip are going to be the opportunity to get hands-on experience in reef monitoring and conservation projects. It's also going to be learn how local communities and tourism industries get involved to showcase their local islands and reefs. Meet and speak with resident scientific researchers at important research stations and learn the significant projects that are making a difference in conservation on the Great Barrier Reef and its marine life. And there's a whole list there. I'll let you guys all read that. But yes, it's going to be a very exciting trip, something new that Coral Expeditions hasn't really done much of. So we are really excited to be doing this one. So it's our pleasure to welcome today Dr. Dean Miller. He's a scientist, conservationist and multimedia professional. He has a PhD in coral reef management, tourism and resource allocation. So Dean brings over 25 years of field experience from the icy reaches of Antarctica to the tropics of the Great Barrier Reef. He has participated in more than 300 ocean expeditions around the globe and currently serves as a managing director and co-founder of the Great Barrier Reef Legacy. Dean is also the creator and project leader of the groundbreaking Forever Reef Project, which is building the world's most biodiverse living coral biobank. With 179 species collected so far and a target of 415 by 2026, this effort represents one of the largest coral conservation initiatives on the planet. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Dean Miller. Hello, Dean. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very good. Thank you for having me online. I'm very excited to be part of this expedition. And funnily enough, we're going to a lot of my favourite places. So, yeah, I can't wait for this one.
Oh, that's good. We're very excited to have you on board. So we're just going to run through a couple of the spots and Dean's just going to give us a little bit of a recap as to what we're going to be doing there. So, Dean, when we get to Lizard Island, what can we expect when we get there?
Yeah, look, I think this expedition really takes in some of the more interesting, remote and pristine places on the Great Barrier Reef in this part of the world. And we've chosen particular locations for activities and also citizen science programs that we can participate in. So when we get to Lizard Island, if you haven't been there before, it's an absolutely fabulous spot. It's kind of postcard island getaway kind of location. You've got the beautiful turquoise waters of Watson Bay that you can see there in the photo. That's where the main expedition ship will be mooring up. And then from there, we can basically launch into a whole swag of activities. There'll be hiking opportunities, there'll be snorkeling, there'll be diving, and of course, relaxing. This is a pretty significant place in terms of history. This is where Captain Cook came out of Cooktown, and basically he was stuck in the labyrinth of the Great Barrier Reef, and he used the high peak there, which is now called Cook's Look, to kind of find his way out of the Great Barrier Reef network to escape its clutches so he could get out of that tricky bit of water. So we can go up to there, we can do Cook's Look, we can hike over to a place called Blue Lagoon, which is an amazing spot. Once we're there, we can do citizen science programs like Tangaroa Blue, where we can collect beach debris and collect data on actually what's in that debris and contribute to science that way. And of course, we can snorkel, we can dive, we can beachcomb. It's just a lovely location. If you're in this part of the world, you can't help but stop here. And yeah, an itinerary wouldn't be complete without Lizard Island.
Perfect. And then we're going to head to the Flinders Island group. Can you tell us a little bit about that one, please?
Yeah, this is a pretty special spot. This is kind of over in Princess Charlotte Bay area. It's hard to get to, and it's not really part of many itineraries. And the reason we really wanted to go here is because of its, well, initially because of its, I guess, Aboriginal rock art. It's very rare rock art, and we're very lucky to have access to the Stanley Island location to be able to go and visit and see this. This is not seen by many people, so it's a super interesting and I guess quite detailed bit of rock art that we're able to go and see. That's one part of our visitation to the Flinders Island group, but the other part is the mangroves. So this area is heavily I guess, forested with an incredible mangrove population. And of course, those mangroves give rise to all kinds of different animals and ecosystems and habitats, because really mangrove systems are the nursery of the entire Great Barrier Reef. And we've got Murray on board. You saw his photo and his little bio a little bit earlier. He's going to be our mangrove expert, and he's helping us really interpret that ecosystem and how that functions as the nursery for the Great Barrier Reef. And of course, on top of that, he is an absolute bird expert. So we'll be doing bird surveys. We'll also be doing mangrove watch. Now, I understand that mangrove watch hasn't been done there for over a decade. So this is extremely important data collection information for that part of the world. And look, there's been a couple of cyclones in that last 10-year period and bleaching events. So it'll be really interesting to get in there and just see how well the mangroves are faring. On top of that, you know, there's a range of different islands within that group area. As I said, it's rarely visited, so it's pretty exciting to be able to get in there and have a bit of an explore. We've got the whole day there, and to be honest, I'm super excited. I haven't been there for probably 10 years myself, and it's one of my favourite places on the entire Great Barrier Reef. There's a bit of everything. I mean, you've got obviously the land ecosystem, you've got the Aboriginal rock art, and then you've got that mangrove system that kind of gives rise to a little bit of sort of everything that you can find on the Great Barrier Reef in one location. So, yeah, I can't wait for that day on the expedition.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad we've got a bird expert, because we always have avid bird watchers on board. So that's good.
Murray's unbelievable. You know, he specialised in really sort of tropical birds, but he's worked all around Australia and in most of the major national parks and over in New Zealand, even on some conservation programs. So if you are a twitcher or just like birds, you're going to really enjoy Murray. He's an expert guide on the Daintree River system, and he does that daily. He really knows his stuff, and he's you know, very happy to depart all that knowledge onto you. So even if you're not into birds, you will find it absolutely enthralling to listen to Murray talk about birds and mangrove ecosystems and how they support those different species.
Awesome. And then when we're there as well, we're also going to go and hit Ribbon Reef and do some diving and some snorkeling. Is there anything about Ribbon Reef that you can share with us, Dean?
There is lots that I can share about the Ribbon Reef area. Look, this has been my backyard for, you know, near on 25 years. I did my PhD on the Ribbon Reef area, so it's very close to my heart. And we'll be doing lots of different things, including reef health surveys. So we're bringing Andrew Ryan with us as well, who is an educator up here in far north Queensland, and he specialises in training along with myself in citizen science programs for reef health indicators. So we'll be doing 3 different reef health survey programs, which we will be training you in, and then you can participate if you want to. You don't have to, of course. Whether you're diving or snorkeling, you can take a data sheet with you and actually collect reef health information. And that gives us basically a snapshot or an insight into how well that reef area is doing on that particular day. And then when we look at that data set over time, we can see how well it's been tracking. Of course, the Great Barrier Reef has experienced another mass bleaching event, unfortunately. Thankfully, in this part of the world, it hasn't been too severe, but that is now 6 in 9 years. So that's quite a lot. So we'll be really, really interested in wondering how well the coral is faring up there. So we'll be doing lots of snorkeling, lots of diving activities. It's a wonderful part of the world. It really is probably one of the best parts of the entire Great Barrier Reef in terms of being able to get underwater and experience what a classic coral garden looks like. And we're excited because we'll be looking at areas where we can actually collect corals for our Forever Reef project as well. So lots of activities to be had at coral reef locations. This, you can't go to the Great Barrier Reef without seeing coral reef locations, and these are some of the best. So I'm super excited. Then we'll be doing the citizen science programs on top. And of course, the guest lecturers will be giving you all kinds of information each and every day about all the places that we go to and visit. And then during this expedition, we've timed it pretty well, and it wasn't by accident, but it is going to be coral spawning time. So while we're out there, we'll be keeping our eyes open for coral spawning activity, and we'll be measuring how ready the corals are to actually spawn. And then should the conditions allow, we will be getting in, hopefully, to actually see the coral spawning on one of the nights of the expedition. So it's an amazing part of the year to actually be on a boat, to be on the Great Barrier Reef. It's the largest sexual event on the planet, on the largest living structure on Earth. So it's a pretty good time to be on an expedition out there with experts who know exactly what they're looking for and how to get the best out of that experience.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
Yeah,
and then we're going to
really
do
does.
similar things on more reef, is that right?
Yeah, look, no coral reef is like another. And so we would be remiss to not visit many, many different coral locations while we're out there. And that's exactly what we're going to do to make sure that you see a great sort of variety of coral reef habitats and ecosystems, and lots of different, I guess, assemblages of organisms. So, to do that, you need to visit several places. So we're going to do exactly that. We'll be doing reef health surveys at each and every one of those. Again, you can participate in as many as you like or none. It's really up to you. But of course, we'd love you to participate, and we will be there to train you how to do that. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, just really interested in seeing lots of different locations up there and getting a measure of that reef health.
Yeah, lots of time in the water, but I mean that's why people are going to join this trip, right? They've obviously got an interest in this, so it seems fantastic.
We're after adventurers with purpose is what we like to I guess our motto for going out onto the reef. We always go out there with some purpose in mind, and I think on this expedition, the Coral Futures expedition, we have an incredible purpose. So yeah, we're looking forward to meeting and working with everyone on board.
Yeah, amazing. Then we're going to go and unwind and hang out on the Sudbury Cay. Is there anything that you can tell us about this area, Dean?
Well, this just looks terrible, doesn't it? A whole heap of people on a sand cay at sunset. I think the picture speaks for itself. This is actually a really important location for us. We did an expedition with Coral Expeditions and Australian Geographic some years ago, which was one of the first collections that we did for the Forever Reef project that you see in front of me right here. And we actually collected the corals, some of the ones in which in this tank at Sudbury Cay. So for us, it's going to be going home and seeing how the corals are doing there, but obviously getting on the cay and just enjoying some reefscape. I mean, there's not a lot of coral cays you can actually access on the Great Barrier Reef, but this is one of the better ones. It's right on the outer edge of the Great Barrier Reef. And, you know, probably only a couple of kilometres from this is the continental shelf, dropping down to about 2,000 metres, which is where Dr. Rob Beeman comes in. He's our bathymetry expert. And I tell you what, I've worked with Rob for probably 15 to 20 years now, and there is no one better placed on the entire planet to describe and show you the absolute, you know, plethora of work that he's been doing on the Great Barrier Reef in understanding what happens underwater. Once upon a time, only about sort of 12,000 years ago, this entire area wasn't actually, you know, covered in sea. It was during the last ice age, and we could have walked from the coast out to this cay. The cay wasn't there, of course. And so that was all dry land. And what you can actually see in the bathymetry models that Rob will bring with him is all those extinct riverbeds and you know, sort of mountain systems. It's an incredible thing to kind of remove the water and see what Rob's work actually reveals. So I am super excited to go back to sea with Rob. We did an expedition with the Schmidt Ocean Institute many years ago, where we took deep water ROVs into the Coral Sea. They were capable of going down to 4,500 metres, and we were exploring for the very first time some of those deep continental edges of the Great Barrier Reef, and some of the information, some of the images that were brought back, and Rob's bathymetry data will absolutely blow you away. You will absolutely love his talks, and you know, pulling him aside and just chewing his ear about what's happening under the water. So having Rob on board is going to be absolutely phenomenal.
That sounds amazing.
It's going to be great.
Then we've got Fitzroy Island, which is always on everyone's bucket list. So yeah, if you can share a little bit about Fitzroy for us.
Absolutely. As I said, you know, you can't go to a lot of these locations. Well, you can't visit this entire region without going to these locations. And so we've purposely picked the best ones for this expedition. Fitzroy Island is a lovely little spot. It's kind of mid-shelf. So it gives us a slightly different ecosystem. But of course, the draw card there is the Turtle Rehabilitation Centre with Jenny Gilbert, and she's done a fantastic job along with her team of creating, I guess, refuges for sick turtles. And look, there isn't a person on the planet, I'm sure, that doesn't like turtles. So to be able to see them looked after and cared for to a position where they can be rehabilitated and then released back onto the Great Barrier Reef is fantastic. It's quite a laborious activity. So it's very in-depth, and going and being able to see this facility in action and learning just how much goes into rehabilitating turtles and meeting turtles one-on-one is pretty exciting. So yeah, no visit to this region would be complete without visiting the Turtle Rehab Centre. And I promise you will come away with butterflies in your tummy just knowing that this place exists and that those people are doing the great work that they do.
Yeah, the rehab centre for the turtles is amazing. We volunteer, me and my partner volunteer over there quite often, and you get to know like the turtles. They have their own little personalities. It's amazing. So yeah, everyone will have a great time over here.
Absolutely. And look, we'll be seeing lots of turtles on the expedition throughout, you know, sort of, and we'll collect information on those as well. But then you'll get to meet them, you know, one-on-one. So it is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty special. And then we're going to jump in and have a chat about the Forever Reef Project, and that's your you know, area of expertise. So go for it.
That looks familiar, that slide. Absolutely. So look, we were lucky enough to win the Australian Geographic Award for Nature in 2024, the Gold Tier Award, and be awarded $50,000 to advance this project. And you see it right before you here. We'll be visiting this facility in Port Douglas. So we'll come and put everyone on the shore, and we'll walk everyone through this facility and give you a world-class tour. Basically, the Forever Reef Project is a coral ark. So our plan is to get out there and collect every species of coral on the Great Barrier Reef and keep them alive in these tank-type systems for their ultimate conservation, but to make fragments, tissue samples and genetic material available for reef research and restoration efforts. And like you said earlier, Louise, this is one of the largest conservation projects with coral anywhere in the world right now. So we're very, very proud of it. And we're very happy to have this as a major focus of the expedition. And, you know, having that $50,000 from the Australian Geographic Society allows us to get out there and collect more corals to add to this collection. So currently we have 179 species in here. We have thousands of individual fragments. It's the largest collection of Great Barrier Reef corals outside of the Great Barrier Reef. And what we're effectively doing is a living backup of what's on the reef, as I said, for almost an insurance policy, really. So it's very, very exciting. We'll be able to come in here and meet corals firsthand. And look, I've been diving for 25, 30 years. And honestly, it's not until you get in here and you can see the corals in a still environment and listen to someone talk about them and see them up close that you appreciate the diversity, the fragility of their structures, the way they grow, the symbiotic relationships between algae and bacteria. It's really a fantastic experience, and then something that we absolutely wanted to add for our, I guess, guests on this expedition. So we're excited about the potential for, well, not the potential, the absolute guarantee to get you in here and see the corals firsthand. Now, should the weather allow, we'll actually try to do a collection while we're out with the expedition, and we'll be able to add to this collection, and we'll actually get guests to participate in helping us do health checks and working with the corals, which is not a usual experience. So we're really excited to be able to value add to the expedition in that way.
Perfect. Dean and the team are doing some really amazing things. So if you are, I'm sure you're going to be a water lover if you're going on this trip anyway, but it's going to be really immersive, and yeah, it's definitely going to be worth your while. So whilst you're on this itinerary, you will be on board our Coral Discoverer. She is our smallest expedition yacht. She's designed to take you to destinations that are inaccessible to larger vessels. She has a shallow draft, which makes her highly versatile. She boasts ocean views from all public spaces. We have all outward facing staterooms, so it doesn't matter if you're in a porthole window or a balcony, you are going to have a view no matter what, and it doesn't matter what side of the ship you're on either. Our Coral Discoverer is probably our most loved vessel. She's we got her in 2005, and all of our regular customers love to come back and travel on our Coral Discoverer. I think because she's probably our smallest vessel, so only carrying 72 passengers. She just offers an intimate expedition experience, and on a trip like this where it's going to be so immersive, you want to have those smaller numbers as well. So Coral Discoverer, she conducts expeditions across Australia's coast, so Tasmania, Cape York and Arnhem Land, and the Kimberley and the Great Barrier Reef. But yes, she's very spacious, very beautiful, very loved by us in the office. She's our favourite. So that top left photo is our bridge deck lounge. This is where our guest lecturers are going to come up and do their lectures for you. There's a few TVs up there. They'll have some presentations to show you. So that's a nice big spacious area. It also has panoramic views, so you'll always have no matter what way you look, you'll have a view to look out at whilst going through your lecture. Then that top right, we have our sun deck. This is where we quite often will do like an Aussie style barbecue. We'll have a few afternoon drinks and stuff up there, so you get to watch the sunsets and sunrises up there. Bottom left is our dining room, nice and spacious. There's a bar at the back there as well. And then we also have that bottom right, which is our bridge. So we actually have an open bridge policy. So on board our vessels, we like to have it as immersive as possible. So we have an open bridge. So you can go up, if the door's open, you can go in, you can have a chat with the captain anytime you like. Lots of people like to go up and have their morning coffees with the captain. We also run engine room tours as well on board. So yeah, just to keep that relationship between our guests and our crew really close as well. Then we have our top left here is our bridge deck balcony stateroom. So this is our right at the top of the vessel. They've got a big sliding door which takes you out to the balcony. All the rooms have en suites as well. They're all very spacious. They've all got cupboards as well to put your clothes away. You can hide your bags underneath the bed. And yeah, it's all really spacious. Our promenade deck is our big picture windows. And then we've got our main deck staterooms, which is our smaller picture windows. And then a main deck category B is our porthole windows. All of the rooms as well can be split into two singles, or you can have them as twins as well, and they all have lounge areas as well. Now these are probably our biggest standout feature on board our vessels, and these are going to come in really handy when heading out to the reef. They are really accessible. We like to call these our explorer tenders or our safari jeeps of the sea. So they actually live on the back of our vessels. On our Coral Discoverer, we just have the one because it actually fits our ship's capacity. So it fits 72 passengers comfortably. On board our Explorer tenders, we've got a toilet for remote convenience. We can be out longer. We've obviously got the roof there for shade. As you can see in this picture and the big picture, it's on the hydraulic platform. So it gets lifted up and down, raised to the back deck, and everyone can just simply walk across the ramp to get on board. So really accessible as well. In that top picture on the left-hand side, you can see the ramp to get on and off. That section also is a gate. So when we go out to do our reef trips, when we're snorkeling and when we're diving, we just open that little gate as well. So it's really easy to get on and off, in and out of. When we get to our beach landings to do our beach combs, we call these wet landings. There is a little section at the front of the Explorers that fold out the front and turns into a ramp, and then our expedition team will just help gently guide you off. So it's really safe, really easy. They also fit like our kayaks on board, all of our snorkeling gear. It's got 2 big motors on the back as well, so really accessible. These excursion vessels make our lives really easy when going out on excursion. So there's a nice open picture for you to see there. You can see all the open storage. It's got the full flat bottom, so we can pull right up to the beach. We don't have to worry about getting stuck. It's full of life jackets and storage. It's got the proper backs on the seat as well, so it's not those bench seats that you have on the Zodiacs where you're bouncing around all day. It's actually really comfortable. We also have a PA system, which is really important. So when we're actually traveling out, if you've ever been on an expedition before and you've gone on the Zodiacs, you know that to get the commentary, you actually have to pull off to the side and get out of the wind to hear what your guest lecturer or your expedition team is saying to you. But on this one, we actually have a microphone and some speakers. So we can actually do commentary along the way and tell you on our way out to the excursion what to expect when we get there and a little bit of the history of that region. We also have on these Explorers, we call them clears. They're just the blinds that come down the sides. So if we do run into some wind or some rain, we can pull those blinds down. We're still really comfortable and you've got panoramic views. We do still have the Zodiacs. They just provide another exciting and flexible option for shore excursions and navigating those narrow inlets and waterways. We're never in them for too long, so we'll usually go out in the Explorers, in our excursion vessels, and then we'll transfer from those to the Zodiacs. Just because, especially for you guys, if you're going on this trip in December, it's going to be quite warm, quite hot in Cairns. So yeah, to have that roof is going to be a huge benefit. And then yeah, we'll transfer you out into the little Zodiacs once we're out in that location that we need to be in. So to sum up, from humble beginnings on the Great Barrier Reef over 40 years ago, we have taken our unique style of Australian expedition cruising to their far-flung lands of the Kimberley, Tasmania, the small islands of Japan and Papua New Guinea. Wherever we go, we have one purpose, and that's to take small groups of like-minded explorers to the most remote parts of the world with expert guidance in our warm Australian hospitality. So that brings us to the conclusion of the webinar. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to both myself and to Dean today. If you do have any questions, please pop them in the chat box. You are absolutely going to love this trip. It's going to be so immersive, and yeah, you're just going to learn so much. So if you're interested in it, definitely lock it in while you can. But yes, thank you again for joining us. We'll send out a recorded version to you all, and you are welcome to share those with your friends and your family. And thank you, Dean, for taking the time to join us today.
Absolute pleasure. I can't wait to get back on board. Yeah, as I said, we were on this boat a couple of years ago, and it is an absolute adventure weapon. And we're going to have lots and lots of fun. And the one person that I didn't get to mention during the slides is Brett, our onboard expert photographer and videographer, who will be capturing the expedition, in photographs and video as well, and also providing expert tuition for anyone who's interested in photography. So look, another value add there. It's a great team that we're bringing on board. I've known all these people for many, many years, and I'm really, really looking forward to going to sea with them. And of course, all of you.